just a step beyond the
We align with Christ's consciousness. We are one with the one, infinite, eternal Creator.
So if you haven't already figured it out by now, our theme for the month of November is Spiritual Emeralds of the Wizard of Oz. You know, it's a metaphor. The story is a metaphor, an allegory, a parable about attaining spiritual enlightenment and then applying that enlightenment in our day-to-day lives. And it highlights the challenges that we face throughout our lives and the resources, particularly spiritual resources, that we need in order to face and meet those challenges. Now, I know that times are tough for everybody right now, but I would be willing to bet, unfortunately, that whatever challenges we're all facing, that there are other folks that are facing much, much more serious challenges than we are. And that's why we're doing so much giving this holiday season. Lots of opportunities for you to find that heart of giving and take action on it. I personally, I actually made a decision on the way to church today. I'm not planning on giving Christmas or holiday gifts to friends and family this year. All of my giving will be done here at Unity of Sarasota so that we can give to the greater community and those who are challenged more than we are. And I ask that you just give prayerfully, mindfully. Don't overgive. Don't do more than you're able to do. Do what you're able to do and fill it with joy. That's the important part. So this, I thought it would be a fun way for us to move through this process in November, to do it with the gang from the Wizard of Oz. And so it is my fervent wish that just like we did with the bunny, we fill this stage and the front part of the stage with shoes and socks for kids so that they get something brand new this year. So, you with me?
Yes.
Good. So the Wizard of Oz story is actually about a spiritual quest. Dorothy is on a spiritual quest. And it's not only her spiritual quest, it's our spiritual quest as well. Dorothy is us. We are Dorothy. And Dorothy and us are all the characters in the story. All those characters are an aspect of us. The fun ones, the not so fun ones, they're all an aspect of us that we must meet and come to terms with and decide how we want to integrate all of that so that we become whole. When we make this journey. Now, one of the things that I have to tell you that is very, very important, you really got to get this. The story of the Wizard of Oz is absolutely true.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, we have a yes. And I'm taking this from an authority other than myself. This comes directly from the Munchkins who say, morally, ethically, spiritually, physically, positively, absolutely true. You can't believe a Munchkin, who can you believe, right? Now, Dorothy's journey from Kansas and back again represents that spiritual quest into the inner dimensions to meet our own aspects of self, all of those aspects of self. To move towards self-actualization, atonement, or at-one-ment, to become one, to become whole, to move into wholeness or holiness. Dorothy is our spiritual hero, and she's on a hero's journey. Much like other spiritual masters, Jesus and many others, Dorothy has some similarities, which means, guess what? So do we. Not all of them, however. Parentage was a mystery. With Jesus, that was a mystery how Jesus came to be. And Dorothy's parentage is in question. That's a mystery. Actually, that one I do have in common. I was adopted, so there's a bit of a mystery about where the heck I came from. But I'm here now. Another commonality with other spiritual masters, including Jesus. Dorothy's a common person, so is Jesus, among ordinary folks out there in the ordinary world. At some point, most spiritual masters have had to flee for some reason, or at least temporarily. And they've had to travel a path in the wilderness that was filled with challenges. And they've had to, they've actually had the benefit of meeting companions along the way. The Oz characters, the disciples, the apostles, right? Companions along the way that helped the journey. They discovered inner powers that helped them to transcend from where they were to a higher level of consciousness. And ultimately they returned home to be, and were transformed. They were different when they came back than when they left. So all of us are on that same journey. Now, there's a lot of symbolism in the story of the Wizard of Oz. A lot of symbolism and backstory. I want to just say something about Kansas. No disrespect to Kansas, anybody who's from Kansas, no disrespect. But at least in the story, it's kind of, black and white and bleak, right? I want to just share something, kind of a Unity thing. Unity headquarters is in Lee Summit, Missouri, which is just outside of Kansas City. But Unity made their over the rainbow journey by not being in Kansas City, Kansas. They're in Kansas City, Missouri. So they made that over the rainbow journey of their own. That's Unity Village in Reverend Matthew spent a good deal of time there working with Silent Unity. So it's kind of rainbow-like over there, isn't it? Yeah, a little bit Oz-like. So we come from a good pedigree, those of us in Unity. Now, Dorothy and Toto seem to not really belong in that black and white bleak Kansas that we see as the movie opens up. How everything's black and white and really dull. And so we're already getting a tip that maybe they're displaced in some way. And the movie opens with Miss Gulch. Remember Miss Gulch? She demands that Toto be destroyed because Toto ran through her garden, and then she claims that Toto bit her on the leg. So she says, by law, I must have that little mutt and we'll destroy him. Well, Auntie Em and Uncle Henry and Uncle Dorothy, they caved under Miss Gulch's threats to take away their farm. And so they urged Dorothy to give Toto up. And Toto, by the way, represents our inner knowing, our curiosity, our intuition, our sense of possibility, our out-of-the-box or out-of-the-basket thinking. And so essentially, Auntie Em and Uncle Henry are asking Dorothy to give up her intuition, her creativity, her curiosity, her sense of possibility by giving up Toto. And Toto then, he won't stand for it. Toto becomes the catalyst for Dorothy even considering an adventure over the rainbow, because Toto jumps out of Miss Gulch's basket and runs back to Dorothy and escapes that black and white shadow consciousness that holds us back. And so Toto really is representative of the life force of curiosity, of possibility, of intuition, of that inner knowing, it really is that inner knowing, that guide, that spiritual guidance that is within Dorothy and within all of us. Little Toto, who knew it was that important, right? So he comes back, and Dorothy said, as you heard earlier, Toto, we gotta get out of here! We gotta get out of here! And so Dorothy decides that she must run away, take Toto and run away somewhere over the rainbow. The rainbow being a metaphysical bridge, if you will, from earthly consciousness, human consciousness, to a higher level of consciousness, a spiritual consciousness. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that we dare to dream really do come true. E.Y. Harvard and Harold Allen. And so Dorothy runs away, and very quickly she comes upon this sort of carriage thing and a little trailer type thing, and meets yours truly, Professor Marvel, who really is a bit of a snake oil salesman, a charlatan, a fortune teller. Nice guy, but not totally legit. And he listens to her story, and then he looks in his little crystal ball, and he says, oh, Auntie Em and Uncle Henry are so sad that you're missing. You really need to go home to the farm. And so he convinces her to go home to the farm and to stay in the status quo of that black and white consciousness. And so she decides that's what she'll do. She'll go to what's familiar. And so as she's running home, a big tornado comes, much like happens in our own lives. We have some traumatic event that then pushes us out of our comfort zone and moves us into a transformative journey into our higher self. And so Dorothy runs home. She is locked out of the storm cellar, and this is very important. None of the folks that are in the storm cellar can see or hear her. And so there she is, not being seen, not being heard, not being known. And so she and Toto go into the house and hide in the bedroom. And shortly thereafter, Dorothy gets hit in the head with a window. The window representative of an opening to new dimensions of experience. And so she looks at, in her dream, she looks out that window and sees all kinds of things flying by. And ultimately, she is not only knocked out in the head, but she's knocked over the rainbow into Munchkinland and onto Oz. So the journey from unlimited or from limited consciousness to higher unlimited consciousness begins as she goes into this dream state. So Dorothy lands somewhere over the rainbow. And that rainbow, that being in that new rainbow land, that colorful place, is indicative of having a new consciousness, a new awareness, a new mindset, of being able to have new ways of seeing and new ways of being. You notice in the movie how it goes from that black and white bleak canvas, and all of a sudden everything is rainbow-like and very colorful and bright and brilliant. And so that's the journey that Dorothy has just made. Now, in the process, as you will recall, Dorothy's house accidentally falls on top of the Wicked Witch of the East and kills her. Now that represents the crossing out of old belief systems, crossing out of that old way of being. And Dorothy then is immediately celebrated by all the Munchkins for ridding them of that dastardly witch. And they have a parade in her honor, and they're singing and dancing. And the Munchkins are symbolic of that innocent inner child, that loving inner child that loves to live in the joy of the moment. Remember all the little tiny Munchkins? Yeah. I don't remember the words to that song. And ultimately, you see this bubble, this iridescent, beautiful bubble descend, and out of that comes Glinda, the Good Witch, who appears there then to welcome and to support Dorothy. She symbolizes sacred feminine essence, the divine feminine, which, by the way, exists in all of us, including all of you men. There is a divine feminine aspect in every single one of us, so every single one of you has some Glinda in you as well. And so she's a being of light and love, and is our guiding inner light, our guiding spirit. Wisdom comes from within. Now, she looks at what's happened, and Glinda immediately transfers the ruby red slippers from the witch's feet onto Dorothy's feet. And she says, never, never let loose of those slippers. Never slip out of them. Always wear the slippers. And we don't get a lot more information about those slippers, but we know they're pretty special right off the bat. Whatever you do, don't lose the slippers. And then Glinda sends Dorothy on a journey on the Yellow Brick Road, which is a path of enlightenment, on to the Emerald City and Oz. And Toto, too, goes on the journey. So, next week, I invite you to join all of our fellow travelers on the Yellow Brick Road. And we'll make that journey together next week with you know who they are. But you'll see them next week. In the meantime, I'm going to invite you to go into a brief meditation with me to explore your own journey thus far. So, if it's comfortable, close your eyes. Otherwise, a soft, fuzzy gaze at the candle flame. And take a deep breath in to the center of your being. And then release that breath fully. Continue to breathe in deeply and exhale fully. And find your own perfect rhythm of breath. Breathing in, breathing out. The breath of spirit filling you up. So slowly return from over the rainbow to this time and space. space, knowing that the journey will continue and you'll go further and further over the rainbow in coming days. When you're ready, gently open your outer eyes and be here now. Blessings on your journey over the rainbow. Listen to and follow your Toto intuition, inner guidance, and be prepared to venture into new heights in consciousness as you journey down the Yellow Brick Road. So it is, together we say, and I just want to take a chance to say thank you again to Rob Hermit Satori and to Dorothy, Lisa Arundale, and Toto.
Look inside of you. Take the time to realize what you are here to do. When you think the time is finally come to stand by the fire, to walk into the blazing sun and play your heart's desire. You were placed upon this earth with a mission to complete. Now the time has come, stand up strong and claim your destiny. You must move in the direction of your dreams. Not the soul that already come true. Even when there is no hope, or so it seems. Move in the direction of your dreams. Do you think that you're not good enough to be a shining star? Or do you think because the road looks tough that you won't get that far? If you would be concerned and celebrate as others have to shots. Well, maybe that is just too many. A few times settles down. You were raised upon this earth with a mission to complete. Now the time has come to stand up strong and claim your destiny. Yeah. You must move the direction of your dreams. And that is all that already come true. And when there is no hope, so it seems. Just move in the direction of your dreams. When the world feels like it's crashing, crashing all around you, and the clouds of doubt are walking in your day. Well, then just be still and know that there's something deep inside you that will always, always go away.
Because remember, we all have the munchkins inside of us. We have we've got all the stuff inside of us. So we're going to bless the kid inside of all of us. Next slide, please. Ready? We love you.
We bless you. We appreciate you. And we see the living Spirit in you.
Okay, chaplains. We have our chaplains come forward. Our prayer chaplains are here, and ministers are available to you after the service to know a greater expression on the yellow brick road of your journey into a higher consciousness. And so please partake of the service that they offer, and let's thank them. Now, next, I want to say something about Wednesday evenings. Wednesday evenings are going to be a little bit different going forward. There is no service this Wednesday evening. There will always be a service on the first Wednesday evening of the month, and it will be for Ukraine. It might be something special. It might be a prayer vigil with some music, but all the proceeds will go to Ukraine. That's the first Wednesday of every month. The rest of the Wednesdays during the month will be special, what I call the Wednesday night specials. And not every Wednesday night will have a special, but quite a few will. The first one being Armand and Angelina. They will be with us next Sunday as our musical guests. And then they're doing a Native American flute workshop after hospitality after the service next Sunday. And on Wednesday night, they will be doing an Age of Aquarius concert on Wednesday night special. All right, so put those in your calendar. Those of you who've experienced them know that it is a rip-roaring good time. So be here for Armand and Angelina. Going forward in the month of December, we have several special Wednesday nights coming up. So stay tuned. You'll be hearing about those coming forward. Okay, and this is our opportunity to remind ourselves that we are taking this journey into Oz with a generous God, and so therefore we will pass that generosity on in divine circulation. And so this is our opportunity to give. Together, we embody God's abundance of more than enough to enjoy, to spare, and to share.